Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. My name is Carlos Torres, and along with Altvater, every week we check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it's happening golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you this week?
Hey, Carlos, what a weekend of golf last weekend. I don't know if you watched any of this, but the tour was in Memphis for the beginning of the FedEx Cup playoffs for the St. Jude, and playoffs. It took 3 extra holes, but Will Zalatoris, one of our favorites, got his your homeboy there from Dallas, got his first PGA Tour win. It was a big one. He now leads the FedEx Cup Series with Scotty Scheffler close behind. FYI, Scotty missed the cut in Memphis along with a couple of other big names. So they kind of took the week off. They'll be raring to go this next week at the BMW in Delaware. Saki Baba from Japan went 11-9. Ouch. Win over University of Michigan Junior Chun at King Chambers Bay. And the U.S. Women's Amateur last week. The U.S. Men's Amateur is going on right now. They just wrapped up the second day of medal play to see who is the top 64 going into match play starting tomorrow. Carlos, there's so much golf going on right now. You can't, you flip on the TV, you watch the news. I'm looking at scores. I'm trying to see the local kids from Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana that are in the U.S. Amateur and the U.S. Women Amateur, and the local tournaments that are going on. The Junior PGA League is wrapping up, and there's so much stuff going on. I'm looking at putting together September issues of the magazines, and I don't know if I got enough space to put in all the stuff that I want to put in there for all the local happenings of golf that's going on, Carlos.
Well, Will Zalatoris is not only the local boy. I'm from here and playing on Texas. He's from here playing on Texas. So that gives us the home field advantage. He's the only player I've picked in all of my picks all year, this past 2 years, I guess. I don't know. But finally, he gave me that win. We're happy here. Everybody's talking about him, definitely, and expecting big things. He's been one of the most constant players in the majors. And finally, to get a win here, that is in the FedEx Cup, and who knows, maybe he will be the one to win it all.
He's like Brooks Koepka a couple of years ago. If you got a big event, Brooks Koepka is going to show up, right? A major or a really big deal. And I'm telling you, if it's a major or a big tournament, Will Zalatoris is near the top of the leaderboard every time.
All the time. So you see, that's one of my 5 picks all the time, and it'll continue to be for some years to come until he fades away, I guess. But anyway, one thing that we have to talk about is definitely there's some concerns, and an unnamed PGA Tour player told the ESPN that, and I'm going to quote him, he said that there is a meeting to get the top 20 players in the world on the same page so that it can continue to make the PGA Tour the best product in professional golf. And that meeting is happening right now there in Delaware. And one of the players that is not there is Cameron Smith, the world number 2. So it's not all the top 20 that are there. We really don't know who is.
You find it funny that Cam Smith all of a sudden has a hip injury and can't show up this week? Did you find that funny? I didn't know he had an injury. Did you?
Hip discomfort. We'll talk about that pretty soon. But anyway,
he's probably hip hurts from carrying around all that money he won last week. Couple weeks
ago. Maybe that should be it. But you know who's there and it's not competing in the FedEx Cup playoff? Tiger Woods. He arrived there alongside Rickie Fowler, and just about an hour ago, he was reportedly entering the hotel where they're going to be meeting. So he's reportedly trying to garner support among the fellow PGA Tour players. The battle that they have against the breakaway LIV series. So there's a meeting for the PGA Tour Player Advisory Council also scheduled for today, and PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan is reportedly set to address the players separately, not in this one. He's not part of it. So the Fire Pit Collective wrote in an article on Monday that supposedly everything is on the table, from these players boycotting the majors to also Jay Monahan's future to maybe a larger compromise to the LIV. John Ram and Patrick Cantley both were in the press conferences today there at the BMW, and they were a little bit jokingly about, John Ram said that there's a player meeting, but he can't tell us what it's about. He doesn't know. He said, hey, I don't have Tiger's number. I don't even know if he's going to be there or not. Patrick Cantley was another one that said, hey, I don't know. I'll be in that meeting, but I'll let you know tomorrow or maybe later. I don't know what it's going to be about. He's going to be listening. So, of course, they have to say it that way. But honestly, Fred, let's take into context what the Fire Pit Collective said, that everything is on the table. First of all, I think because there are reports, like you mentioned, all of a sudden Cam Smith is not in that meeting. He's the world's number 2. He is also now out of the BMW championship because of a hip discomfort. And all of a sudden you see this meeting and everything is on the table. They're saying, hey, maybe we are going to be boycotting the majors, which I think it would be silly for them to do. Or maybe, hey, we're going to fire Jay Monahan because of maybe the way that he has conducted the relationship with the LIV, or not compromising with them, or maybe getting to a compromise with LIV and say, hey, we're recognizing you're a threat. Let's see how we can compromise and become something that where we both can benefit from. So, Fred, there's a lot to think about here. And definitely things are getting very serious when you see all these players now here. My take is this is something going on. I mean, Cam Smith is leaving. There's a lot of money going there. We can't ignore this anymore. We have to take action on this.
Yeah, Carl, hang on. I got a little camera issue here I'm dealing with. I'm sorry. My camera doesn't want to obey me. So I hope I can get through this here real quick. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, this is there's a lot going on here. We got Tiger flying up to Delaware, to get in this meeting. We got Cam Smith supposedly jumping to the LIV for $100 million. Leishman's supposed to be going with him. It's a lot going on. If Smith bolts, that's huge. I mean, when we saw DJ and Phil and all this, I mean, yeah, that was not good, but still we could kind of deal with that. We've handled that. It's okay. And I get, we talked about Cam Smith maybe being a really good friend, looking up to Greg Norman, and Greg has an inroad there. So maybe that's it. But, $100 million, Carlos, if somebody offers you $100 million to come and play golf, I mean, if you're a pro golfer, you got to look at that. You have to look at it. I mean, there's just no way around it. So it's just unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So, Carlos, we had the shot across the bow. The PGA Tour won the temporary restraining order against the 3 players that went to the LIV, still were eligible. They had qualified to be in the FedEx Cup playoffs. They wanted to play. The PGA Tour said, nope, you didn't obey the rules. You're out of here. We're suspending you. You're not eligible for the FedEx Cup playoffs. The court upheld that. We're still going to hear the antitrust lawsuits. They're going to be coming in a few months. I don't know I think the same judge is going to be handling that. I'm not sure about that, but I believe it is. No, it'd be different. But anyhow, that's going to be working its way through the courts, and to see what happens with that. I think it's going to take a while to sort all that out. Then on the other side of the fence, Carlos, we got the official World Golf rankings changed, the methods that the system they're using to rank, create world ranking points. It's a new system that uses a strokes gained world rating, which generates a performance points value. And then the entire sum of this performance points values will define the overall strength of the field, not just who's showing up to play that week. It's all about the numbers. And so it makes it more definitive. In the past, they felt that the PGA Tour players were maybe a little bit of a disadvantage to the European Tour players, who were getting a little bit better of a break when they played in events over there. They got a little bit better ratings because of the way the old system was. So we'll see. But the bottom line is that the LIV doesn't have any world ranking points. So how are those guys going to get into the major championships? So that's going to be another big thing to watch, Carlos. We keep talking about that. And But my big question is coming out of the meeting today, there must be some rumblings about Jay Monahan not being the commissioner. There must be some talk among the players that it might be time for Jay Monahan to go. And you know, Tiger's flying up here to saying, hey guys, let's calm down a little bit. Let's see where things are. You know, we got the big guns coming out here, Carlos. We're seeing some players spouting off back and forth against each other, guys that were friends, friendly competitors, and now they're becoming mortal enemies because of these lawsuits. So it's mind-boggling to me. It's really unfortunate. But I go back to one thing that I've learned throughout my 70 years of living, Carlos, that when things are really, really good, watch out, because that's when things could really turn around quickly. The PGA Tour over the last 10, 15 years have had it really, really good. The TV contracts, billion-dollar TV contracts, they've had things their own way. So you know what? There's a new sheriff in town, and Greg Norman is trying to make it difficult for the PGA Tour, and he's doing one hell of a good job of it. I want to just real quickly before I get away, let's turn it back to you. I picked up this little tidbit today. Aramco Oil, owned by the Saudi government, provides the funding behind the rival LIV Golf Series, just recorded a 90% increase in profits for the second quarter. So you're paying $4 a gas pump. Oh, guess what? You're funding the LIV Golf Series, guys. 90% increase. They totaled 48.4 billion. Okay, just in the 3 months in the second quarter. Add that to the profits in the first quarter of 40 billion. That's a total of $88 billion of profit just in 6 months, Carlos. I think they can afford to give $600, $700, $800 million to these golfers. What do you think?
The $3 billion that supposedly they offered Tiger, that's cheap change for them, definitely. Like you're saying, that's what I keep talking about it. I mean, let's stop talking about the money that it's coming from the Saudis. Who's funding the Saudis? Really, it's not them. It's the whole world out there. So let's stop criticizing this thing about the money and where it's coming from, because it's coming from us. We are paying them. So anyway, and
hey, Carlos, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
I've got to ask this question. Do you see Tiger Woods as commissioner of the PGA Tour?
No, I don't think so. And I even don't think they're gonna get rid of Jay Monahan. And we talked about this before. Jay Monahan reports to the players. Okay, so the players have the power to decide who's really gonna be up there. But the thing is, I just think they have realized the first worry definitely that they have to have is if finally Cam Smith leaves, which we don't know, is reported that maybe next week. And that's why he took this one off. But I don't know, that would take him, he's the #1 right now in the President's Cup international team. So that would take him away from that. Mark Leishman is number 16, so he's on the outside looking in. But that he's the first big sensitive player that would jump bolt there and would give automatically instant recognition to the LIV, because of one of the top 2 players in the world is right there right now. And the players recognize this. I mean, it's not going to be the last one that is going to bolt. We've heard about other players, and we know, and maybe they know something, because you mentioned about the antitrust, which is a very totally different case, because even the government doesn't like the monopolies. And we know this. We've seen how many big companies have been dissolved into smaller companies, or at least made to, hey, you have to sell some because you are a monopoly here. And they're in the perfect state for antitrust lawsuits, which is California. They would have gone to Florida or New York, that's a different story, but it is in the perfect place for it. And that is a very different story, because it's not about the players and what they are earning and all this. It's about the PGA Tour being definitely a monopoly, because where you see here on the States, somebody that can compete with them, there's nobody at that level. So there's something there to look at from the legal standpoint, that maybe the players are like, hey, before this happens, let's start looking for a compromise. I think that's what's going to come now is going to be what we have been always talking about. They're going to sit down in the table. They're going to talk with Greg Norman, and let's see what we can come up with so that everybody can play. And mentioning about the official World Golf rankings, I believe this change is a prequel to allowing the LIV to actually be able to have those players have ranking points. The previous method didn't allow them because the strength of the tournaments was not good enough for them to really acquire enough points for the official World Golf rankings. This way is very different because now you're talking about strokes gained and pure stroke playing. So now every tournament definitely is going to be, we are going to finally see if this is how it's supposed to be, right? It's a little more balanced right now throughout the whole world. How are you going to do this? So I think this allows better the LIV players to have a shot at being ranked in the world, earn points, and it will come down to two things I see. What the majors are going to do with them. Are they going to be allowing them to play if, like they have been doing so far? If you qualify, you play, which is the way that it should be. And the second, really, that antitrust lawsuit really is the key, because if the US government says, hey, you are a monopoly, you cannot be doing this, you cannot ban your players from playing here, you have no competition at all, they are a true competition for you, they can play wherever they want, then that will allow all the players to say, okay, now let's see, I'm going to go there to play. And the PGA Tour definitely will be in big, big trouble.
I got one more question for you before we sign off here. Do you see a future LIV PGA Tour Ryder Cup style match play?
That would be interesting. They don't have enough players yet for that, but what I'm looking forward to see also is the reported possible offerings to the ladies to go there to have their own league, or the type LIV type player, right? Or maybe some influence, and maybe you can talk to the commissioner when you talk to her about this. What possibility, what do you see there in the future about the influence that the LIV can have on the players? Because right now, one of the things, even though the ISPS HANDA was the first one to offer equal pay for women and men, right now, one of the things that we've always talked about is that how much underpaid the women are. And if the LIV, Greg Norman, start offering that kind of money to the ladies to come here, I'm sure they will. Definitely, there's not going to be a question about it. And then you're going to start seeing more and more. I mean, you already see it. There's a lot of interest, or at least curiosity, to what the LIV is doing and why the players are going there. And you can't say that that's bad publicity. They are getting the publicity. We are getting the great numbers every time we talk about the LIV. So there you see how really the players can't ignore it, and the PGA Tour either.
You got it. It's still a mess, Carlos, and I know we'll be talking about it for another a while yet, for sure.
Yeah, this is not going anywhere, but I really want to know what they say tomorrow about that meeting that is going on right now. Can't wait. I wish I could be a fly on that wall, but we'll see.
Love to be in there.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to talk to you about the latest in golf news and information. Remember to subscribe to our channel. The description has right down there has the link where to subscribe automatically. Thank you for joining us.